Sam McKnight, hello. What an absolute pleasure to meet you, and thank you very much for inviting us into your studio, into your inner sanctum of your hair wizardry.
You're welcome.
You are one of, if not the most legendary hairdresser of our time, and you work with all the big names in fashion, from Karl Lagerfeld for Fendi and Chanel, Vivienne Westwood, Paul Smith, all the big fashion photographers from Nick Knight to Patrick de Marchelier, Mario Testino, and of course you've done the hair of some of the most famous women in the world, from Madonna to Victoria Beckham, Cara Delevingne, Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss, and of course, Princess Diana. And now you have this exhibition at Somerset House, Somerset House's major winter exhibition, Hair by Sam McKnight. And it opens on the 2nd of November, and you have this brilliant coffee table book to go with it. And it celebrates your career in hair, the 40 years of being at the absolute top of hairdressing. But I wanted to start at the beginning, if I may, and just ask, when was your big break?
I suppose that came in the late 70s when I worked in a salon called Moulton Brown. Before Moulton Brown was just hand wash, it was actually the sort of the top salon in London. It was in South Moulton Street. It was part of the Browns fashion emporium, and I worked there as a stylist, and they happened to send lots of their stylists on shoots for Vogue. So I was introduced to Vogue through a photo shoot that I'd been sent on from the salon.
What was the fashion industry like then? Was it very different to what it is now? Was it very exciting?
The fashion industry then was very small. It was really tiny, and it was the shows were just they were really industry shows. They were trade shows. And the public didn't know anything about them. I mean, in fact, I did a show in late 70s, I think 78, for the Emmanuels. And I can't remember really, but I think I had about 4 or 6 assistants. And now I think at the last Chanel show we had 30 assistants and 100 models. So the whole thing has exploded.
Who was the first celebrity or the first big name that you did?
I think probably the first big celebrity that I worked with was probably Brooke Shields at the beginning of the 80s for US Vogue. Celebrities weren't models like they are now. It was models were models and actresses were actresses. And I mean the worlds have melded into one now. But I think Brooke Shields was a model before she was an actress, but she was a huge celebrity. She was a massive celebrity because Warhol had taken pictures of her, and she'd been working with Avedon for years, and I did an American Vogue cover with Avedon with her. So I guess that would have been my first big star.
Talking of people you've worked with, in the book you have a whole chapter on Princess Diana, and you did her hair for 7 years. What was she like?
She was lovely. She was very nice. She was funny. We had lots of laughs. She was very beautiful. And I was just very lucky to, again, I'd been in the right place at the right time doing a shoot for Vogue that I was introduced to her by Patrick de Marchelier and Anna Harvey, who worked at Vogue in 1990. And I cut her hair short that day, and we kind of got along together. And I spent the next 7 years on and off with her, and yeah, we had lots of fun.
And her hair was such a massive definition of her look. It was, a huge part of it, and you're responsible for that. That must be quite amazing.
Well, looking back at it now, I mean, of course, I knew at the time it was a great honour to be involved in that at the beginning, but it's only in retrospect you realise how historical it was, because I was just there doing her hair, and we did the job and left, and that was it, But in retrospect, it's a part of history, I guess, and it feels great to have been part of that.
And is it true that you watched Brookside together?
Well, she did love to watch Brookside, and sometimes if I was there doing her hair for something on a Saturday night, Brookside used to be on in the afternoon, and we would get a good old session of Brookside in, yeah.
And another person that you've worked with closely, and again, she's got a section in the book, is Kate Moss.
Yeah.
And you were sort of with her from the beginning. Have you got a favourite shoot that you did with her, or a favourite look that she's had?
Everything Kate does is always, she brings her huge personality to it and her huge talent. So every shoot's completely different. And there's so many in there, and that's why Kate has a chapter of her own, because there's so many great images. We couldn't possibly choose, just one or two.
No. How many shows do you do a year?
I do 16 shows a season, plus couture, plus the mid-season shows. So yeah, it's quite a lot.
Have there been any moments from the shows that have stood out for you at all?
Yeah, one particularly memorable moment during show season was when Naomi fell off her massive platforms on a Vivienne Westwood show.
At that time, did you realise that was going to be a real moment in history?
No, we did not. I remember Yasmin Le Bon and I looking at the screen, watching her keel over, thinking she's not going to get back up, but she just jumped up and smiled. It became quite a kind of defining moment of that era.
Mm. What's the biggest change you've seen in women's hair over the last 40 years?
Probably the biggest change in women's hair in the last 40 years is the way that maybe in the 70s there were probably 2 or 3 hairstyles that women had, and that was it. And women over 30 cut their hair short, and that was it. There were rules, but there aren't any rules anymore. The rules have all been broken. And
is it now that there isn't a defining hair moment, and maybe we're feeling more confident in our own hair?
Yeah, but I never thought of it like that. But you're right. I think probably people have gained a confidence with their hair that they never had before.
That's quite amazing, as well, especially the texture as well.
Yeah.
Frizz.
Yeah, frizz is fine.
Frizz is fine.
Yeah, frizz is fine.
I was very interested in the book when they spoke about the natural hair and that effortless hair, and that's something that you very much created. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like we're coming back to that in the same way that no makeup is? Yeah,
I think that's probably like one of the answers to one of your questions before. I think it's that confidence thing, isn't it? I think now, again, I keep going back to hair products and tools, and you can actually just enhance what you have rather than fighting it. And I think people are much more confident enough to have their own hair and not fight it.
Is there such a thing as effortless hair?
There is such a thing as effortless hair. You look like you've got effortless hair.
I did put quite a lot of effort into it.
Well, there you go.
That's me too.
That's not what it's about. It's about what it looks like, not about the 3 hours you spent doing it.
Are there any hallmarks or what makes a great haircut?
What makes a great haircut? Something that looks good on you, and something that looks effortless, and something that doesn't look like you've tried too hard. Which is harder to get than what it sounds. I think if you find the right person to do it, I think you have to develop a relationship with your hairdresser. That's what it's all about, really.
Exactly.
Hair can utterly transform someone, yeah, without a doubt. It changes. It changes according to your moods, your diet, how your body is. How the atmosphere is. It can mean many different things. But I think it's about learning. There's so much info out there. It's about learning how to do different things with it. I really want to ask you about the final page in your book, which is completely gorgeous, and it's you in your wigs. It's so humorous, it's so brilliant, and you've also got it on your cup. We're surrounded by all these wigs here. What is it about wigs that you love? Well, look at that. What's not to love, if you leave a hairdresser in a dressing room with a couple of hours while the makeup's being done with a bag of wigs, you'll definitely get someone trying them on, that's for sure, and it's usually the hairdresser. I've taken Polaroids of myself in various wigs and things since the 70s, and I've got a nice little collection of those. And the iPhone being a camera and then Instagram happening just kind of was natural progression. And we've always got a bag of wigs and a white wall. And I just started posting them, and it just became a thing.
Have you got a favourite look?
No, how can you choose from your favourite child?
And why now? Why 40 years? Why not 30 years or 25 years?
Because I might not be here in 50 years. The book is not actually the book of the exhibition. The book is much more full than the exhibition. There's obviously not enough room in the exhibition to put there. We've also got wigs in the exhibition. We've got different aspects, a bit more 3D, the exhibition. So it just kind of happened at the same time, and it felt like the right thing to do. I mean, when you're offered a major exhibition by someone's house, you just don't say no, whether it's 20 years or 40 years.
And final question, would you ever have a plan B? What would your plan B be?
Oh, I think it's a bit late for a plan B, yeah.